get to it. Representative Frederick, you're first up with 1433. Welcome to the committee. Vice Chair Vang, would you please move the bill and get it before the committee? But before you do so, I think we're going to be holding this, laying this bill over. There's some work to be done, so the motion would be to lay it over. Representative Vang.
Mr. Chair, I move that House File 1433 be laid over for possible inclusion.
Okay, Chair Frederick, welcome to the committee. Please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Luke Frederick. I'm here to give a brief introduction of the biofuels bill. Minnesota is the fourth largest producer of ethanol in the nation. We were the first to establish an E10 standard in our gasoline. This bill ultimately is designed to support farmers in Minnesota, and I don't think I can stress that enough. There's multiple aspects of this bill. It's not simply saying, you know, farmers are awesome, which they are, but at the end of the day, its purpose is to support the farmers throughout Minnesota. There are environmental impacts. I know that it will not go as far as some people would like in regards to address environmental concerns. There's a lot of talks about an electric future, but I do think it is a pragmatic step forward, and it is going to be good for Minnesota. It will be good for the environment, and I would ask that everyone vote in favor of the bill, but I will turn it over to my testifiers.
Who's up first for your testimony? Deputy Commissioner Andrea Vauble?
Yes, thank you,
Please.
Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is I'm Deputy Commissioner Andrea Vauble, and I'm so thankful to be here today. A huge thanks to the committee for hearing this bill and to Representative Frederick for carrying it. So this bill is a big priority of the governor, and I think it reflects a lot of the great work that was done by the Governor's Council on biofuels the last year. So as most of you may know or not, back in September of 2019, the governor did form the Governor's Council on Biofuels, and he really wanted to look to get the state to meet its petroleum replacement goals, as we are woefully behind both in our petroleum replacement goals and meeting our Next Generation Energy Act goals. And so we put together a great team of folks from around the state who represent a lot of different entities to talk through how we can meet those petroleum replacement goals and what are some strategies to get us there. And even through the pandemic, we met several times over the last year and came to a great consensus with a number of recommendations that I think are extremely beneficial, not only for our agricultural economy, but also for our carbon emissions. So one of the other things is the Department of Transportation put out the pathways to decarbonize the transportation sector. And it was clear from that report and the modeling that we need biofuels to meet those goals. We absolutely think that the electric is part of our future, but biofuels is absolutely part of that as well. So we have this bill, which represents a significant portion of what was in those recommendations. We understand that there are some concerns. I think we have been very vocal that we are willing to work through those. This is a place for us to start, but we feel very strongly that biofuels has to be part of the future, and that this is the place to start. So with that, I was going to have Bob Patton from our agency just walk through the bill, so you get some highlights of what it actually does.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob Patton. Please identify yourself and continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members. I'm Bob Patton, and I'm with the department work in the Ag Marketing and Development Division. And I'm going to give the briefest walkthrough I can give of Representative Frederick's bill. It implements key recommendations of the Governor's Council on Biofuels, and I'll note there's a related proposal in the Governor's budget that I'll describe as we work through. The bill modifies statutes pertaining to 3 agencies, the Agriculture, the Pollution Control Agency, and Commerce. Sections 1 and 2, which are on pages 1 and 3, create new sections in the Agricultural Development Statute. Section 1 creates a new biofuels education and marketing program in agriculture, in the Department of Agriculture, and its purpose is to make grants and contract for services on the topic of education and marketing. Section 2 creates a standing council comprised of experts on education and promotion to advise the commissioner. And I want to note here that there's no associated funding proposed in the governor's budget at this time. The intent is to create a structure and a fund for initial funding, which we expect to come from the agriculture and industry groups. Section 3 on page 4 amends the statutory authority for the Pollution Control Agency's underground storage tank program rules. It requires all new equipment in the state to be E25 compatible, so that's 25% ethanol. And this should not be a burden because it's our understanding that most, if not all, new equipment on the market is already E25 compatible. Sections 4 through 13 to the end of the bill amend the oxygenated gasoline statute, which is administered by Weights and Measures in the Department of Commerce. It changes the content requirement, which is currently E10, creates standards for both E15 and E25. It makes changes according to a timeline, E15 no sooner than 2022 and E25 no sooner than 2031. The standards apply only if the commissioners of Agriculture, Pollution Control, Commerce, and the Department of Transportation determine that certain conditions are met. 2 of those conditions pertain to the readiness of biofuels infrastructure, which is really the biggest key issue for delivering higher biofuels blends. One of those conditions is that independents and chains of 2 or less have had an opportunity to obtain financial assistance, and this relates directly to the budget request. The governor's budget includes $4 million for the biennium for biofuels infrastructure financial assistance, and that also includes policy language. I'm going to skip to section 12. That allows sellers 1 dispenser for E10, and that's of course to accommodate vehicles that are older than 2001. And section 13 exempts small distributors, 2 or fewer, from the content requirements. So happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Thalman, Board of Directors, Minnesota Corn Growers Association. Please identify yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Brian Thalman. I serve on the board of Directors, the Minnesota Corn Growers Association, and I'm here today on behalf of our nearly 6,500 members to support House File 1433. Thank you, Representative Frederick, for bringing this bill forward. House File 1433 includes key recommendations from the Governor's Council on Biofuels. I was honored to host Governor Walz on my farm in Plato in September of 2019 to announce the formation of the council, and also had the privilege to serve as a member of the council. It was not easy to reach consensus and policy recommendations virtually, but I'm really proud of the final product and my contribution to it. I am pleased to also testify in support of the recommendations put forward in this bill that will help our state continue to lead on biofuels issues and result in a broad set of benefits. The amazing corn kernel provides ethanol from the starch while also providing rich, dried distiller's grain, protein-rich dried distiller's grain, and corn oil all at the same time from that same kernel. The cornfield where this kernel was grown also benefits from the production and return of 10 tons per acre of stalks, leaves, and roots to the soil, building the soil's organic matter for future generations. The ethanol industry is crucial to farmers' economic vitality while providing multiple benefits to Minnesota's consumers, communities, and economy. Ethanol is a cleaner burning fuel that helps to improve air quality by reducing particulate emissions and has lower carbon emissions compared to gasoline, allowing an entire tank of gas to burn cleaner. Minnesota has long been a national leader in biofuels policy. We are the first state to require ethanol blended fuels in 1997 and have made additional strides since then. We can continue that leadership by moving to a 15% blend of ethanol now, while paving the way for even higher blends to 25% as outlined in the bill. Ethanol marketing faced huge challenges last year due to COVID. State policy can provide more certainty to the Minnesota ethanol market, using more of our homegrown product to benefit consumers and our economy. House File 1433 can help Minnesota's ethanol industry and farmers recover from economic swings last year. Some may ask if our state has sufficient production of corn and ethanol to meet a 15% or even a 25% standard in the future. The answer is yes. After the 15% standard is enacted, we will still be exporting over 2/3 of the ethanol that we produce in the state to customers beyond Minnesota's borders, and a move to 25% would utilize more of the ethanol produced here. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Okay, we'll be holding questions until after all the testifiers are done. Next, we have Joel Wordish, plant manager of the Papp refinery in Bingham Lake. Please identify yourself for the record and continue.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Joel Wordish, and I am the general manager at Papp Biorefining in Bingham Lake, Minnesota. Thank you for the opportunity to appear today on behalf of the Minnesota Ethanol Producers Association and voice our support for House File 1433. We firmly believe that creating the Biofuels Education and Marketing Program and upgrading the state's minimum fuel standard to E15 and eventually 25 will greatly benefit Minnesota's economy, environment, and air quality. Papp is one of the largest producers of renewable biofuels and bioproducts in the world, operating 4 bios here in Minnesota. We are extremely proud of our state's longstanding policy leadership on renewable fuels, especially the distinction of being the first state to require E10, as both Representative Frederick and Mr. Thalman just mentioned earlier. A lot has changed since E10 is set as the standard back in '97. Today, ethanol production is far more dynamic, more efficient, and more sustainable than ever. First, it's important to recognize that today, biorefineries don't just produce ethanol, as Mr. Thalman mentioned. We produce nutritious feed, corn oil, renewable CO2, dry ice, industrial-grade alcohol, hand sanitizer, and a growing number of renewable products designed to replace petroleum. And we do so using far less water and less energy, especially when compared to fossil fuels. Over the last decade, in 10 years, average water consumption for ethanol production has been cut in half. Specifically at Papp, we've taken water sustainability much further than that. All of our 20 plants across the country use total water recovery, which means we use filtering and recycling to eliminate all water discharge, virtually all in all locations, but at our location specifically, all water discharge is removed. Ethanol plants have also cut energy consumption by 42% since 2001, and ethanol is continuously improving in efficiency and sustainability. The latest scientific analysis shows that life cycle greenhouse gas emissions for ethanol are 46% lower than gasoline and could soon achieve net zero emissions in the near future. That can help Minnesota meet our goal of reducing emissions statewide by 80% by 2050. According to a recent report, shifting to E15 in Minnesota can remove 332,000 metric tons of CO2 annually, the equivalent of removing 72,000 vehicles from our roads each year here in Minnesota. Ethanol has many environmental benefits, but it's much better for public health. Shifting the state to E15 would improve Minnesota's air quality by dramatically reducing toxic tailpipe emissions like benzene, toluene, xylene, which are linked to increased risk of cancer, respiratory disease, and numerous other health issues. Higher ethanol blends like E15 also save money. This isn't a more expensive product. The fact shows that E15 saves drivers 3 to 10 cents per gallon every time you fill up. So shifting Minnesota's fuel standard from E10 to E15 would set a level playing field for all fuel retailers. Retail adoption of E15 is easy and affordable, and it's a transition that has already started across Minnesota. In most cases, existing E10 infrastructures can accommodate E15. Both the major gasoline dispensing manufacturers, Wayne and Gilbarco, they already warranty equipment up to E15. And last but equally important, Minnesota's fuel standard shifting to higher ethanol blends will support the farms, rural jobs, economic growth across Minnesota. Predictable demand growth for E15 would also support thousands of good paying green jobs, attract new capital investment, and generate additional tax revenues in rural communities across Minnesota and our state. The Minnesota Ethanol Producers Association extends our thanks to the sponsors of this important forward-thinking legislation, and we respectfully ask members of the committee to support House File 1433. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Gary Wordish with the Minnesota Farmers Union. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. I'm Gary Wordish. I'm president of the Minnesota Farmers Union. And in Farmers Union, we're a grassroots organization representing farmers in rural communities. And I also assist my son in his farming operation. I just want to reinforce what's previously been said, but when Minnesota passed the bill in 1997, it was also one of the best economic development tools that we've had in the state of Minnesota. The economic activity to the state has really been a huge benefit. The ethanol program, it not only provides the farmers a market for their product, but a lot of good paying jobs in rural communities. By moving to an E15 standard, the previous testifier mentioned about removing harmful toxins from the air or from the fuel, which ends up in the air, which we all breathe. And I think, with what we're experiencing now with the pandemic that's been going on for a little over a year now, all the harmful effects of that, we can't stress enough the importance of cleaning up our air when that's going to be a benefit to all consumers throughout the state. So, higher blends of ethanol is just a win-win. It's a win for farmers. It's a win for consumers by lowering the price at the pump. And it's also a win for everybody in cleaning up the air and breathing less of the harmful toxins. It really reduces our reliance on fossil fuels. So I just want to thank Representative Frederick for bringing the bill forward. And we are strongly, Farmers Union, we're strongly in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wordish. Next up, we have Kevin Papp with the Minnesota Farm Bureau. Please identify yourself and continue.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Kevin Papp. My wife, Julia, and I own and operate a 4th-generation farm in Blue Earth County. I'm president of Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation, general farm organization made up of 78 county farm bureaus with nearly 30,000 members. Climate and weather affect every one of us, but farmers not only pay close attention to our climate and weather, we're dependent on it to be successful. Minnesota Farm Bureau members want to be part of the solution to reduce emissions. Minnesota Farm Bureau members want to do our part to protect the soil, air, and water. Climate solutions are a priority at the local, state, and national level with Farm Bureau. Policies addressing climate change must support agriculture producers and the rural communities by advancing economical, sustainable, environmentally smart practices. Minnesota is a leader in renewable fuels. Let's build on our history and be the first state to move to a year-round E15 standard that enables farmers to do our part in growing and producing a cleaner burning, higher octane fuel that reduces greenhouse gases. Increased use of renewable fuels by moving to an E15 standard is the fastest way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in our state. It is something we can and we should do as soon as possible. We are in full support of this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Papp. Next up, we have Timothy Gross, Executive Director of the Minnesota Petroleum Marketers Association. Please identify yourself and continue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Tim Gross. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Petroleum Marketers Association. We represent the 450 licensed fuel distributors found across our state who own and operate the majority of convenience stores. We are the multi-generational family businesses and farm co-ops that supply the energy needs to Minnesota farmers. NPMA supports the increased use of higher biofuel blends. We believe higher biofuel blends will play a very important role in the future of liquid fuels. That being said, we have some very serious concerns with this bill under its current language. Our issues center around our underground storage tank systems. Per EPA and MPCA rules, we cannot store or sell any product above E10 without demonstrating our equipment is compatible. This is done by UL listing and manufacturer certification. This is black and white. We cannot and do not have the freedom to demonstrate compatibility with statements like the equipment is probably okay or would most likely work. Information provided in the Governor's Biofuel Council included that 3,500 regulated UST facilities are found in Minnesota. Approximately 85 of those cannot demonstrate compatibility with the higher biofuel blends greater than E10. The length of time required to demonstrate compatibility would be a minimum of 10 years at a current cost of $771 to $784 million. Our main concerns with the bill are fairly straightforward. One, per line 4.32, the timetable for the effective date is unrealistic at July 1st, 2022, resulting in a majority of our members with two choices: break the law or choose to go out of business. Number two, there's no direct funding with this bill to help retailers with the $784 million price tag. And number three, lines 6.18 through 7.5 are an attempt to build some safeguards for my retailers, but these fall well short of their good intentions. The decisions on the safeguards are put in the hands of four agencies with subjective measurements with terms like has had adequate time or has been afforded a reasonable opportunity. No business, retailer, or farmer could operate under such uncertainties. Also, an exemption is made to my smallest members. This does not help these retailers, but puts them at even more severe competitive disadvantage they find themselves today. With price differentials between 3 and 29 cents per gallon between E10 and E15, these small retailers are the ones that need E15 now, not to be exempt. The results of these safeguards would be business uncertainty, financial hardship for many leading to closure, EPA, MPCA enforcement actions, and for the smallest retailers, business closures due to competitive disadvantage. These closures would provide less competition and higher consumer prices and less consumer choice. So in conclusion, these bills need to address three simple areas. First, a timetable that reflects a realistic timetable providing a minimum of 10 years. Second, any biofuel minimum standard needs to be directly tied to stable annual funding support covering this $784 million cost. All that benefit from the increased use of higher biofuel blends should help in this funding, including the retailers, tank owners, farm groups, biofuel producers, environmental groups, fuel consumers, and Minnesota citizens as a whole through direct state and federal programs. And third, there cannot be exemptions for any retailer or tank owner, putting them outside of this process. They all need to be given equal time and funding support to offer biofuel blended fuels, so even the smallest rural retailer can be given the opportunity to be successful. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
Mr. Chair, you're on mute.
Sorry. Next up, we have Mr. Rudnicki. Please identify yourself and continue.
Good afternoon, Chair Sundin and members of the committee. My name is Timothy Rudnicki, and I represent the Minnesota Biofuels Association. It's an organization that serves ethanol producers in Minnesota, And I think more importantly, we actually have producers that account for about 700 million gallons of production in the state. And also we serve at the interface between ethanol producers, fuel wholesalers, and fuel retailers. So we have somewhat of a different perspective and vantage point from which to understand the role of ethanol in the state of Minnesota. I'm going to keep my remarks short because some of the points were raised by other testifiers. But I think what's important here is I want to affirm that Minnesota Biofuels Association supports the work of Representative Frederick and House File 1433. We think that's important to get on the record because the bill generally reflects the recommendations of the Governor's Council on Biofuels. I think more importantly, this is actually a bill that holds great potential to boost Minnesota's economy and further reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the transport sector. And I think one point that may have a tendency to get somewhat overlooked, but has been raised already, is this notion of infrastructure. And while we applaud the Governor's Council on Biofuels and its recommendations to move toward a higher standard and the recognition that there needs to be a council of sorts to create a more sustained funding source for biofuel storage and infrastructure, there's an urgency here that needs to be addressed today. And I have some more detailed remarks regarding another bill, and that's House File 354. The key point is it's great to talk about this vision. The reality is we have an urgent need now, and our concern is that this has the potential to get pushed down the road another year and another year, and that has a great adverse potential for not only the ag community in rural Minnesota, but also consumers and also the environment because of the greenhouse gas emission potential reduction we're missing. So thank you for your attention, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rudnicki. Are there any questions for the testifiers from the committee? We have a hand up. Representative Hansen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, the folks who have testified. My questions are on the structure of ethanol companies, and because you're asking for a great deal of money, I guess I noted that the Corn Growers Association was 6,500 people in a state of 5 million people, and each representative represents about 40,000 people to date. What's the structure of the companies? Are they all privately held? Are they closed co-ops? What's the demographic breakdown? Are there people of color who are members or owners of the ethanol companies? How is the outreach to underserved communities? Just maybe, and I know that's a lot to ask for, but generally, how does the structure work for the industry? And I realize there's a variety of models.
Representative Hansen, were you directing your question towards one specific testifier, or is that an open question?
That's an open question. I think Poet could maybe describe how they're structured, but and the various ethanol industries, on whether they're farmer member, closed co-ops, open co-ops, investor-owned, private entities. That would be helpful.
Mr. Frederick, would you like to take that one on?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Hansen, Poet are 4 bios in Minnesota. Each are kind of a unique setup. Poet is a private company, but there are farmer owners at different bios. Each is set up a little bit differently. But each bio there are different bios that do have farmer ownership.
Representative Hansen?
And what's the percentage of female owners or persons of color, underserved communities, tribal members? As a house, we're trying to look at equity and how do we make sure that it is one Minnesota for everyone. And I'm just concerned if we're only providing financial support here for
a small, narrow thing. How do you work at incorporating and invigorating more ownership if it's possible? I mean, are these closed? Does everybody own it already, or can people buy into the company? And maybe not just Poet, but some of the others could answer.
Mr. Bedard, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Hansen, I probably am not in a position where I can answer that intelligently. I could answer more specifically towards my biorefinery. But is that something I can return an answer to? Can I get an answer and get that in front of this committee?
Mr. Bedard, we'd welcome any written testimony at any time, please.
Mr. Chair, this is Brian Thalman. Could I make a couple comments?
Go ahead, Mr. Thalman, please.
Mr. Chair, Representative Hansen, I can speak on behalf of one of our 20 plants in the state, and that's Heartland Corn Products in Winthrop, Minnesota. I have been on the board of directors there for 15 years. We are a farmer member-owned cooperative with over 900 members, and we have a wide variety of members. They're all ag producers, men and women of southern Minnesota in general. The bigger part of this picture, though, to me, is not looking at the specific ethanol plant. It's looking at the product being produced from the ethanol plant. And we're currently talking about ethanol being produced in the corn producing facilities, because that is the highest, the most economical way to do it in an environmentally friendly way. As we move along, there are opportunities to produce ethanol from other biofuels. I had the pleasure of serving on the Biofuels Council with one or two individuals from the timber industry. They have got ideas to use some of the waste products from some of our northern regions, which would probably get us up closer to, maybe serving some of the other people in the state. To me, we're going to have multiple ways to produce a product, but it's going to be the end result of the product we're producing that's going to benefit every single citizen in the state, no matter where they live, where they come from. But improving the environment for everyone is really how we feel the biofuel industry is going to come forward, and that's going to be the benefit to all citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Thalman. Representative Hansen, any further follow-up?
A quick follow-up. I got on my text this morning from Farm Journal. Price of bushel March 21 was $5.50 a bushel. So I'm concerned on how ethanol works out at that. I think soybeans were above $13. I realize it's different from the terminal to the local site, but it would seem there'd be some concerns on feed costs for livestock. Acres going in are coming into production that hadn't been in production. All of those things, I'm just wondering on the math on this. When, in addition to the federal money that comes in for corn production, I appreciate the earnestness and the eagerness of everyone who's testified, but Minnesota is not the same as it was in 1997. It's 2021, and there's a lot of needs out there, and particularly with COVID. And a big financial ask is a big financial ask. And so I think there's some concerns, Mr. Chair, with this and the other bills. I think it's important to lay those over, to work on them, and to see how we can best use our resources.
Did Mr. Rudnicki care to respond?
Just a brief comment, Mr. Chair. Representative Hansen, we'd be glad to provide you with more demographic information, but I think we can tell you that a number of plants are truly farmer-owned, co-op models, others are LLCs. There are a variety of different organizational methods. Gene McCurdy happens to run the largest ethanol plant in the state of Minnesota, and it's also one of the most technologically advanced in terms of water reuse, energy recapture. But I've given a thought to the question you raised, though, why any financial support? And as a taxpayer, I'd be scratching my head too. And I was going to reserve this actually for comment on House File 354, but it comes down to something pretty basic to me, and that is if you want to do immediate greenhouse gas reduction with the rolling stock that's on the highway right now, the easiest thing we could do is to make available to Minnesota consumers E15. And I'd be glad to provide you with the research from the Energy Resources Center at the University of Illinois, Chicago. But Dr. Stefan Mueller's really examined this. And the long story short is, if E15 were the standard, we'd have 1.07 million metric tons annually reduced. If you go from E10 to E15, the delta is 358,000 tons. Somebody had mentioned the number of equivalent vehicles that's taken off the road. According to his calculations and the EPA calculator, that's about 75,000 vehicles. And I was asking myself, what could you do with $17 million? Because that's what's in the House File 354. $17 million gets you almost to the point of market penetration for E15, where you're going to have more diverse use of this lower carbon fuel. If you multiply 20,000, assuming that's what an EV would cost, you're talking more than $1 billion. So from a social welfare and environmental health perspective, and from just trying to deal with the existential threat of climate change, it's a lot of money given all the pressing social challenges we're dealing with. But it seems like a small investment for much longer returns. And I'm more than happy to provide you with more metrics. I know there are a lot of other things you want to discuss at this meeting today. Thank you,
Mr. Rudnicki. We have Mr. Wordish for some brief comments, and we have two more hands up. So let's move along briskly, please.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I
Wordish.
just want to point out, Gary Wordish, President of Minnesota Farmers Union. I just want to point out the health benefits as we increase the amount of ethanol by also reduces the amount of toxins in the gasoline that we breathe. That the huge benefit of that is going to be in the heavy metropolitan cities where you have the densely populated areas where you get a lot of traffic and a lot of exhaust fumes. So it'll be a benefit to the whole state, but those areas would be the ones that would really have the benefit right now of increased health benefits. So we're out in the open, we're in the rural, we have cities that we have only, very sparsely populated, but so I just wanted to point that out briefly.
Thank you very much. Representative Burkle, please.
Thank you, Chair Sundin. Before I ask my question, could you confirm for me, we are laying this bill over? Is that correct?
That's true.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. And so my question first is for Deputy Commissioner and possibly maybe Mr. Papp and Mr. Wordish, but could you give me a little clarification on how the Governor's Council on Biofuels was put together? And I mean, my concern is that there seems to be very little livestock representation. I know Farm Bureau and Farmers Union would cover some of that ground, but given the need the ethanol industry and the corn and soybean growers are looking for a level playing field, and while I appreciate the need for certainty and predictability in markets, I can attest personally to the fact that volatility created by these mandates for the livestock industry is hard to pass along to consumers. And in my situation in particular, in a small co-op marketing poultry, it can be detrimental beyond people's understanding for feed costs. So I'll chime in with Representative Hanson's comments about feed costs. And so given we can't control weather and droughts happen, I'm just curious how much conversation was had on the council about livestock's, and I'm talking about this beyond DDGs. I think we all know what DDGs add to the feed mix, but I'm just curious if there was any conversation from livestock's perspective, and maybe Deputy Commissioner could comment first, and maybe Farm Bureau and Farmers Union.
Commissioner Bobble, please.
Much, Mr. Chair and Representative Burkle. I'll kind of speak to how the council came about and the representation, and then I see we've got two of our members here who can speak to the more specifics. So what we did was we did an open request through the Secretary of State's office and asked people to apply. We did require in the executive order, we wanted folks who represented transportation, environmental groups, farm organizations. We tried to get a whole host of folks to represent a lot of different interests. I will say from what I recall, and I'd have to just double check, I don't recall anybody from the livestock industry specifically applying, but we know that our general farm organizations have a lot of expertise in this area and represent a lot of livestock farmers. So we felt really confident and good in the representation that was there from those organizations. So that's how it was set up. It was an open appointments process, and we tried to have some just look at where folks were in the state and make sure that we had a lot of diverse voices at the table.
Thank you, Commissioner. Representative Eklund.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I think if I think Mr. Papp or Mr. Wordish wanted to maybe speak to Mr. Burkle's question.
That'd be fine if they keep it brief.
This is Kevin Papp. I will be brief. Sustainability is so important to all of us. It's important to us in agriculture, but probably the most important sustainability is generational sustainability, that ability to have that fifth and sixth generation. And one way to do that is to add value to the commodities that we grow. We do that with biofuels or renewable fuels, ethanol and biodiesel, but also with livestock. And livestock is very important, not only to add value to our crops, our farms, but also our rural communities. So that's something I think we all want to look at, certainly having those opportunities. It's important that we keep in mind that the price of corn is an expense for some and an income for others. And that's why we've got to be real clear as we looked at prices, the futures prices. Remember, my corn is worth $1.12 less in this fall and $1.81 on soybeans this fall than it is right now. So as we look at prices, we want to make sure we look at which crops. Thank you.
Certainly. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wordish, please.
Yep, I'll chime in a little, very brief. We experienced a lot of the food versus fuel debate back in, I think it was like 2012, whenever we had the last price rise in commodities. But if you look back over history, and even that time, the price of corn led the market that time, but it was due to about a 2 or 3 year extensive drought through the I-states. So we had reduced supplies. You go back through history, the times we've had big market prices for our commodities, especially the feed commodities, it's always been due to drought-related issues or weather problems throughout the world. Ethanol does help; it gives us a market, but it's not the weather is the big driver on the price of commodities. So,
Chair Shandina, I'd like to comment on that.
Representative Burkle, please.
I'll be quick. I understand that droughts do affect markets in that way. The point I'm making is we can't necessarily affect the weather, but mandates skew markets. And in that situation, what I'm looking for as this bill is laid over is a conversation about protecting livestock in the worst case scenario. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Eklund.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first off, I applaud the corn growers and other ag groups for looking for value add. I worked in the paper industry where they always had to look for value added products to make it profitable. So I understand where you're going. My question is probably for Mr. Patton, and then I'll have a comment afterwards. And Mr. Patton, did the council determine how long it would take our retailers to be able to come into compliance with this? And then I'll have a statement after your question, after your answer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, Representative. There was an estimate made by the Pollution Control Agency, and Nate Blazing is on the meeting, and he can speak to that if you want more detail. But there was a lot of discussion about the time frame, and the estimate with the current supply, essentially, of equipment contractors and the current equipment supply was estimated to be 10 years or more. But of course, those supplies could change with changes in demand.
Thank you. Representative Eklund.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And therein lies my concern. In District 3A that I represent, there's I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 chain gas stations where they're a national retailer. The vast majority of them are mom and pops. And I'll give you an example. In International Falls, I'm not going to use the name of the station, but there's a station that's going to change over from a chain because somebody else is going to build a new one virtually across the street, same brand. So the person that's losing that brand, if they're forced to upgrade at X amount of dollars when the new place is being built and going to be built up to standards, and E15 is potentially less, or it looks like it's going to be less, that old station is probably going to lose most of its customers, because I know where I'm going if it's 25 cents less a gallon. So I think we need to worry about building up some kind of robust grant system for our retailers, because I'd hate to see the mom and pops in District 3A go out of business for something like this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Eklund. So as a result of the discussions today, House File 1433.
Hey, Mr. Chair, can I just answer really quickly?
Excuse me, Commissioner Bobble, we need to be brief.
Okay.
Be brief,
okay.
please.
All right. Well, go ahead. I'll
be
catch up with
brief
you later.
Okay, thank you. House File 1433 is laid over.